Iron-willed, sharp-tongued and quick-witted, Lee Kuan Yew was a towering political figure in post-colonial Asia and a great nation builder. He made the creation and survival of Singapore a personal project, as its Prime Minister for 31 years and as an influential advisor and commentator right up to his death. He was born into a fourth-generation Chinese family in what was then the British colony of Singapore. He lived through the Japanese occupation in World War II, at one point narrowly escaping execution, and went on to study law at Cambridge University. On returning home, he entered the hectic political fray that preceded independence, founding the People's Action Party, which still governs the island today. He became Prime Minister in 1959 of an autonomous city-state that was then part of the newly independent Federation of Malaysia. But friction between the Chinese, the majority in Singapore, and indigenous Malays led to Singapore being expelled from Malaysia, a decision Mr. Lee, who feared the island state could not survive on its own, announced to his people in tears.
The old Tunku, in his aristocratic way, say, "Away with thee." And I said to him, is there no other way? I mean, can't we sort of loosen up and unscramble? Have a confederation, for instance. He says, no, I've thought it over very carefully, A to Z, Z to A. The only way is out with thee.
Lee Kuan Yew's answer to this was to cement himself and his party as the undisputed rulers of the country, using draconian laws and the fear of communism that had been stirred up by American reverses in Vietnam.
Oh, I think this can become very ugly, much more ugly than South Vietnam. I mean, Singapore, it goes wrong. I mean, Saigon will be nothing compared to what can happen here. I mean, you know, terrorism, violence, bitterness, very unpleasant.
He also set Singapore on a path of rapid development, building modern infrastructure and education and attracting investment in technology and banking. Under him, the city-state became one of the world's wealthiest societies and one of the most stable and reliable allies of the West. The price was a strict enforcement of laws, backed by fines and corporal punishment, and limits on freedom of expression. Mr. Lee coined the term Asian values, thrift, hard work and strong government, which he said were more relevant for multi-ethnic Singapore than the liberal individualism of the West.
People have learned to mute or suppress their instinctive rivalries or group aggressiveness or abrasiveness. I think it will take a very, very long time to make one society, one nation out of many races.
He continued to meet international dignitaries and speak out on issues that concerned him, from the rise of China to Singapore's declining birth rate until the end of his life. He remained fearful of his tiny country's international vulnerability. But the spectacular economic achievements he oversaw are a lasting legacy and an inspiration to other developing nations. Jonathan Head, BBC News.